Okay. Hello there, everyone. I haven't been. Oh my God, what is this? Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Something popped up on my software, so I had no clue what it was. Anyway, I haven't been in live streaming since ages. I have been skipping it for a long time. I've been procrastinating. I've been avoiding it for a while. Now I'm back, and I guess this live stream was provoked by something that I watched yesterday. It popped up on my Facebook timeline. It was a very short 3-minute YouTube video. I want to share it first and then talk about this because as I have realized, the live streams that I'm doing are getting this slight accent of the unpopular opinion, or the slight accent of showing the other side of the story, showing the things that people don't like talking about. So this was yet another topic that I know that many of us have been discussing one-on-one in a small groups, but it's never been brought into attention. It's not something that people want to hear about. So what I will do now is, and I hope the software will be working because I hope it does. The tech stuff usually lets me down. So I will try to live stream a video for you, the video that I watched. So it's a 3-minute YouTube video that I want you to watch, and then we can take it from there. And I want to talk about the topic and my views and my opinions. And if you've got something else to say, then you will be more than welcome to leave comments and share impressions. So this will also be repurposed into the Brand Architect podcast, as always. The podcast has been growing immensely. It's like, I don't know, it blew off. In July, I had 5 times more people listening to it than ever in any other biggest month. So I'm really impressed and proud and humbled. It's really nice. But that's not what we will be watching today. So 3-minute video, please have a look. Meanwhile, I will share it from my page to my personal profile, but I will be looking at the comments in the page profile. So if you want to participate and leave comments and ask questions, please come and join the page. So let's try and see if I can do this. Okay, so probably you didn't hear the sound, which is even better because maybe, I don't know, I mean, Facebook has these strange policies and it may block just because I streamed something that was not created by me. Anyway, so today I want to talk to you about social media, about how genuine it is, about the impressions that we are living, and about how it actually affects our real lives and how they are entangled and all that stuff. So basically, for those of you who watched the video, it's basically showing how much we are changing the reality or how much we are filtering it out in order to leave the impression that we want to leave. So in social media, when we're looking at our thread or on our timeline, on our Instagram photos of our friends we follow and all that stuff that's going on out there, there's always a big doubt about how realistic the things are, how photoshopped the photos are, how much do they show the whole picture, how much what they say is genuine and correct, and whether it's really the case or not. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about social media and how we actually participate in that, and what kind of relationships, if at all, we can call this thing that is created on social media is a relationship. So let's talk about how we present ourselves on social media and why. So first of all, obviously the video showed that we do tend to show only the positive sides of the things. We do tend to exaggerate stuff, and we do tend to try to look better than we really are, or emphasize the successes and not really show the other side of the coin. And obviously, yes, most probably it's logical because we know that many people will be seeing this thing. We know that many people who don't know us will be watching. We are probably trying to put out something out there that will minimize the risk of criticism, although it's almost impossible. So let's talk about this. First of all, why do we feel this obligation? Once we get into this trap of social media, somehow we do feel this obligation of putting out stuff, and putting out stuff very often and on regular basis, and coming out with content even if we don't really have anything to say at this point. So why do we feel guilty if we didn't update our Facebook profile for a while? Why do we feel guilty if we don't really put anything out on Instagram and a new picture and all that stuff? So probably, I don't know, probably just because I have a big circle of online marketers and people who are doing their own online, who are having their own online business. Maybe that's why, but somehow I feel that people are just, moving forward and creating content and putting things out there. And they also feel obliged to share, so to speak, their personality, to be authentic, to share their private life, to show that they're humans, so their target audiences, so to speak, will resonate with them. And you know what? Maybe that's true, but I do believe that you do need to have a balance in there, because let's be honest, I mean, I have 2,500 something friends on Facebook. Obviously, they are not my friends. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. I haven't met most of them. Even online, I haven't connected with most of them. And I really have big doubts that they do need to know which airport am I flying from, where do I go, where I will land, whether there was a delay or not, and all that stuff. So I really doubt that they do need to know what I had for breakfast or what kind of personal issues I'm struggling with. Unless there is a message in there and I want to share and I want to sort of, help if I have figured out something I'm struggling with and I want to share and help you out, then it's another story. But usually I don't think that all these people really care about most of the stuff that we feel obliged to put out there. And the second thing is, I think that if you don't keep the balance and are open and out there and completely authentic, in a sense that you are sharing absolutely everything that's going on with you, then let's talk about these 2.5k people online in your social media versus probably the 5 best friends you have in real life. What will be the difference if you're sort of, communicating and sharing all that stuff, and if you are building this connection on the same level as you're doing with your best friends? Then what is different? What does for your best friends make them feel any more special than all the other 2.5k, right? So I do believe in balance. I do believe in showing part of the stuff that you feel comfortable showing and sharing. I don't think anyone should feel guilty for not sharing some things that he or she believes are private. And I don't think anyone has the right to demand or request that from you. So, the control is yours. You're the one who's deciding. You're the one who decides how much to give out and what exactly to give out. But let's talk about this video, because it somehow showed that you decide to put out there certain things that leave the wrong impression. And I think many people are doing this these days. By the way, I don't see any comments coming in, so I don't know whether you're watching it on my personal profile and leaving them there, or the software doesn't show it to me, but I haven't seen any comments. So if I don't address them, sorry about that. I'll track them down a little bit later and reply. But if no, just drop them here and I will pick it up from there. Anyway, so what I was saying was showing things that leave the wrong impression. I think this again comes partly from people who are taking the wrong advice. We have been given loads of advice about branding yourself, and also about the thing that I really hate as an advice, but it's been given out lots of times, and it says fake it till you make it. So branding yourself as a personal brand and faking until you making together, when they combine, that video there that you saw just in the very beginning, that 3-minute video illustrates what happens when these two components collide. Hello there, Curtis. Hey, Josefa, welcome. So, what happens when these two components collide? When you're trying to create a brand and to create an image which not necessarily is yours, which is the wrongest thing to do. So obviously, it has to resonate with you and it has to be you, and it's just about showing parts of you that is real. But if you're also faking until you're making and pretending stuff that doesn't exist, you end up with this really, really wrong image. So you end up with people who are hiring, and we know them, right? I mean, I'm not going to name anyone, but we know people who are hiring big houses and hiring big expensive cars so they can shoot a video, having that on the background. We know people who brag about their successful clients, who got huge results because of their coaching, but I know personally few people, and I can tell for sure that they're struggling to get their first client. So all this bragging is completely fake. And we know people who basically just leave the wrong impression. They may not do it on purpose, but that's what we are getting. So we get a happy couple. I mean, we have someone who is struggling with their marriage, but she puts out photos of a happy couple in their happy moments, or some old pictures, leaving the impression that everything is great. We have business people who have their own businesses and are struggling financially, who pretend that they're living their free life and are actually working from a seashore and all that stuff. So what happens when we see all that? First of all, many people, especially the ones who have a little bit of confidence issues, a little bit of issues with where they are at their life right now, may start comparing themselves with those people. So when you start comparing, obviously you see the shining thing, you see the best parts of their lives, you don't see the backstory, you don't see the failures, you don't see the struggles, you just see the end result, if it's the result. You see stuff that has been made up. And when you compare, come on, obviously my piece of toast with Nutella for breakfast is not as glamorous and fancy as the photo on Instagram from a really expensive restaurant meal, right? I mean, you can't really compare that. Obviously, me sitting there and doing this redundant work like audio editing for my podcast does not really look as nice as someone sipping cappuccino in a really awesome, very fancy, really nice environment of a co-working space where all these tech startuppers are working together and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you start comparing yourself with that, first of all, pay attention and don't take everything exactly the way it is, because as I told you, it's not always the case. Second, stop comparing yourself, because first of all, even if that's the case, you don't know the backstory, you don't know the person behind it, you don't know how many years he tried few things that didn't work out, how many sleepless nights it took him to get where he is, and maybe this is his year 5 and you're comparing your month 1 with his year 5. So comparing is not really the good reason for this. Second, don't really look at social media as an indicator for success, because you know what? All this number of likes, the number of comments, the number of people who follow you, that is a number. That does not define you. That does not define how good or bad you are and how successful you are. That is just a number that says that some people were better at some things. Some people were better at probably, I don't know, growth hacking, or at finding out ways to quickly gain audience or traction or whatever it is. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean that a person who has 10,000 likes is way better than you are. It doesn't mean that these 10,000 likes are real people. It doesn't even mean that even if they are real people, these people are the engaged fans, or they just didn't like in order to give you do you a favor and not to offend you just because you invited them to like your page. So Joseph asks if people are scared to feel scared to be authentic. Well, I mean, we really use this word authentic very often. I'm a non-English speaker. I can't even tell that I'm absolutely clear about what exactly does it mean. So for me, I usually use the word genuine more often than authentic, because at least, I know what genuine means. And for me, they are synonyms, although I know they're not exactly. But I think people are scared of opening up. So it's always easy to hide behind a mask. I mean, it happens. It's not only a social media issue. It happens in real life as well. Because let's be honest, when you are hiding behind a mask, when you are just someone among the crowd, and when you are not sharing your opinions, especially if they are not popular, then you feel safer because you don't stand out. You're not a person who people can finger point at and get attacked just because your opinion is not the mass opinion. So I think that Authenticity, first of all, probably those who are not as exciting, as interest, at least if they don't think they are very exciting and interesting and creative and all that stuff, they are afraid to show that, so they sort of, mask it behind all these interesting social media tricks to show that probably they are much better in the way they view it than they are. And those who are actually very different may also be scared a little bit to show that they are, because different people, those who stand out and those who are not following the crowd, are the ones who are usually getting under this social pressure, that are being attacked by masses, and that are the creeps and the misunderstood people. So not always they want to put themselves in that situation. But I don't think it really matters, because that's exactly the message. I think that social media and the trends we are seeing start becoming so massive that they start dictating your behavior on social media. So we all know how people behave. We all know what kind of photo. I mean, we already have these analytics, right, in place. So we do have this opportunity to look at our content, at what we have been putting out there, and to see what works well. And when I say works well, I mean what people resonate most with, what do they engage most, what do they share most. I had loads of different types of content. I have my podcast episodes, which have a different style. I have my live streams, which are, I'm still figuring out my style in that. I have my fiction books, I have my blog posts, I have some thoughts that I'm sharing on Steemit. So it's all very diverse, but I can see what does better than the others. And I think it's, for online marketers and online entrepreneurs, maybe it's a good thing. But on the other hand, it might not really be a good thing, because it means that once I know what does best, I may end up being tempted to create that type of content, right? Because it's logical. If you want bigger fans, if you want to create stronger relationship, if you want to grow your audience base, you just do what they like, right? But at the end of the story is that's the logical thing. That's what everyone, most of the people are doing. But that's one thing, which means that your tribe, you're not leading your tribe is leading you. And to be honest, I don't really feel so comfortable about that. I don't think that if at that moment of time I'm inclined and I feel like creating a certain type of content, I should stop myself and not do it and create something else just because that something else did better. So for me, it's really a bit worrying that social media behavior starts dictating your behavior and starts defining your success and defining who you are and how much do you feel obliged to put things out there, how much do you feel obliged to do things in a certain way, and how much do you become dependent on people's reactions on social media to what you have created and what you have done. So at the end, we end up being, I don't really know why, but many people do depend on this acknowledgement in forms of likes, in forms of comments, in forms of engagement in a certain way on social media. And I don't know why. I mean, is it because they lack that acknowledgement in real life and they're trying to find it somewhere else? Is it because they are trying to prove to others objectively that, okay, these are the people who don't know me, but they still like my stuff. It means that my stuff is good enough. Is it because they feel lonely? I mean, there is a paradox here. Many people spend loads of time on social media because they feel lonely and they're trying to fight that loneliness. And they create this illusion of being among many people, of talking with many different people, of getting reactions, and that sort of makes them feel better. But the problem is, social media relationships and connections, how authentic or how genuine are they? Have you ever thought about this? I mean, if they are leaving these photos and started to see this and the impression of the distorted reality of not really the real picture, who said that in conversations and who said that in social media interaction, especially if it's not via private messages but on your wall and in comments, who said that that's genuine? Who said that whatever was written was really what the person meant? I had many, I mean, let's not talk about me. I'll talk about even bigger names, like many big names who people want to interview. I mean, they get so many flattering comments, so many nice emails and all that stuff. And you don't really know whether the person who wrote them really liked them or they just wanted to get them on their podcast just to get an interview. So it's always a little bit, I'm a little bit skeptical about that stuff because I know that on social media, the reality is a little bit distorted to a certain extent. No one wants to put their photo exactly at the moment they just woke up, because probably it's not something you want to share with so many people, especially those you don't ever know. So Josefa says that marketers say that we should respond and add value to our target market needs and wants. So vicious circle. Yes, I mean, the thing, I'll go even further. Yes, you do. You do need to provide value. You do need to give them what they want. They will definitely pay you more willingly and easily, and you won't need to put so much effort in selling stuff if they already need that stuff. But my philosophy was even big. I was looking at the bigger picture. That is tactical. Yes, if I have created an online course and I want to sell it to people, I will definitely, before creating it, probably do a survey, look and see what they want and create that so they can buy it, and I don't really have to struggle and go ahead and ask them to buy that course. But at the end, I may end up creating courses about topics that I'm not so passionate about, and maybe I will make more money, but I won't really enjoy the process. While if I do what I really enjoy most at that certain moment, and even if less people buy it, but I enjoyed the process and it was really, really cool and it led me to something even more exciting, maybe that's the balance I'm looking for, or maybe that is the choice that I will have. So definitely in from the marketing perspective, yes. But the thing is, if you're creating your personal brand, if you're doing stuff online, I don't know, is it really purely business? Because with personal brands, somehow it is personal. It gets personal to some extent. So is it really a pure business? Is it really about money? Or is it about something else? And if it is, then what it is about. So Josefa has seen people in her circle that get their heads turned by too much gushing praise and start to believe their own hype. This then leads to more extravagant claims to feed the machine. Yes, exactly. Well, the thing is, let's be honest, we all have egos. We all love when our ego is happy. We all love when it's boosted. That's the human nature. So staying humble is a challenge, especially at certain point when you become relatively popular, when you do gain audience, when you are getting really nice reviews about your content, about your products and services, about yourself even. I mean, Everyone loves compliments. It's normal. But the thing is, if you're distorting the reality, if you're pretending, so let's say if I'm pretending that I'm much prettier than I really am, if I'm so I don't know, photoshopping my photos on social media, and I'm leaving the impression that I look much, much nicer, and if someone compliments my looks, do I believe that? I mean, that's what they have seen. They've seen enhanced looks of mine, for example. By the way, I never Photoshop my photos, but anyway. And when that happens, and I keep on the hype and put out even more professional photos and more professional makeup and all that stuff, what happens if I go to a live event? If I'm invited to a conference and I meet these people in real life, I can't Photoshop my real self, right? So it's always, I mean, the further you go from the reality, more difficult it will be to meet these people in real life later on. So that is something that really, really has to be considered, because you can pretend to a certain point, you can get away with some stuff, but there are things that you can't get away from. And what you can't get away from is your real self. And it will show sooner or later. Maybe if you're just writing blog posts, it will be more difficult to figure out if you are fake or not. But if you're doing a live stream like this, you can't fake much unless you're a super talented actress, right? So yeah, that's the thing. And so don't really let, I guess the main message was, first of all, don't take everything for granted. Don't take the things you see on social media the way they are, because they aren't. No one wants to talk about their failures. I mean, unless you're James Altucher, you're not going to go ahead and talk in details about the worst day in your life, about the biggest failure of your life, about stuff that you completely fucked up. And because it's painful. We don't want to talk about that. We don't really want to share that. So obviously we do share stuff that is nice, that is popular, that is sexy, and that we know that people will like. So don't take everything for granted. Don't take what you see on social media and all the claims that people are making on social media as if they are true. Always take it with a little bit of irony, and unless you know the person personally, even if it's an online connection, but unless you have connected with the person and unless you have spoken with the person and know who that person is, don't ever make any conclusions. Don't compare yourself to that person, because you don't know the backstory, you don't know the whole holistic picture and all the components of the thing, and you don't know how it works. So don't really make this comparison. And the last point that I wanted to make was, when I watched this video, it was the time when, since few weeks already, I sort of went a lower profile on Facebook. Before, I spent so much more time on Facebook than before. Now I moved to sharing my thoughts more on Steemit, which was, I did an interview with Anthony, who works on Steemit, so you can watch it on my Facebook page. What is this? It's an amazing platform. The short story is you get paid to create content if people like it. So I'm sharing stuff there, and I spend less time on Facebook. And you know what happened? I never thought about this before, but when I watched this video and I started doing this live stream and spoke about the thing, I came up with this conclusion. Once you detach from social media for a while, at least you don't take it so seriously and you're not so engaged and involved in it, you become free. And by that, I mean you care less. You don't care less about the people. Let's make it clear. I still communicate with people that I communicated before. Naima is here. We still chat online. Josepha is here. We still chat online. Curtis is here. We still follow each other. It's another story. It's already a connection. It's already a relationship that was built. But I care less about what I should share on Facebook, how it will look, what people will think about it, what is the best time to share it so more people can see it, and all that stuff. So it basically comes to the thing. I just saw a quote the other day which said, I'm 98% sure you don't like me, but I'm 100% certain I don't care. So it's sort of, you gain back your freedom of doing what you want, doing it the way you want it. And by detaching and not comparing yourself to others, you sort of chill a little bit. You don't take things so seriously. You don't take yourself so seriously. And you don't overanalyze. You just share. I mean, I didn't have a script when I pushed this, button of going live. I didn't have a script. I just had watched the video. I wanted to share my views on it. I didn't prepare in a sense that, I didn't really know what I was going to talk exactly about and what kind of impression I was going to leave. I know that this is not the perfect time for the US audience, which is my biggest audience. So most of the people who really follow and like my stuff will watch it on replay. But I saw the video, I thought about stuff, I wanted to share it, I just did it. So otherwise, it becomes too strategic, it becomes partly fake, and it becomes very scripted. So, and therefore not really as genuine as it should be. So that was basically the message. And also I thought that, I do have to create a Brand Architect podcast episode. So why not talk about this and repurpose it and share it with Facebook and share it with my podcast listeners as well. So that was the message. I don't know if it was clear enough, but basically, not everything is as it is the way you see it on social media. Therefore, don't make conclusions about people you don't know personally. Don't compare yourself. Don't forget that all these social media measurements in terms of likes and friends, number of friends and comments and all that stuff does not define you. It does not define your success. It does not mean how good or bad you are, and you are enough the way you are already. And the last thing is detach, take some time off, look at it with a fresh look, and become free to do whatever you want and the way you want it. So that's it. Unless you have any additional questions, let me just check my personal profile to see there's nothing there to address. Unless you have any other comments or questions you would like me to address, I guess that would be it. I'm very thankful for the internet that it didn't really disconnect and leave me out without saying goodbye like it did last time. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any comments on my personal profile, so it seems that it's okay. So yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you're gonna have a nice week. I still hope you will create something, because I mean, come on, we all need. If you have a message out there to share with your audience, just go ahead and do that. Don't really. I mean, there will always be at least one person who will need to hear that message at that certain point. So don't really overanalyze stuff. Don't look for perfection. Just go ahead. Just hit that live button and talk to your people. So that's it. Josefa was having her mid-morning cuppa. Yeah, enjoy. And that's it. So thanks a lot for watching. As always, it has become a long live stream. I try to keep them short. It never happens. So I guess that's part of the style. So thanks a lot for sticking around, for watching me for this whole time. I really appreciate the comments. I appreciate your time, your attention. And hopefully, whatever I said sort of, brought a new perspective to things and provoked thoughts. Because recently I have noticed that what I enjoy doing most these days is ask questions and provoke thoughts and make people think about stuff they haven't thought before. So hopefully I did a little bit, at least a fraction of what I spoke about, did that. Otherwise, have an awesome week. I don't know when again I will go live. I think I will be having another interview recording on Thursday, but I'll schedule it in advance so you can see it. That's it. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.